Children are our future. They are the future of not only our country, but the future of our planet. Our hopes and dreams of a better future lie with them, and we need to do everything in our power to give them the best possible start at life. Christ said, "Let the little children come unto me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these." Research has proven that a child's formative experiences shape the very fabric of who they are as adults. Ensuring that young children have access to not only high-quality healthcare, but high-quality education is one way that we can help children develop into well-adjusted, productive members of society. Unfortunately, in the United States, our education system is not providing access to a high-quality education to all demographics of children. This is particularly true in the field of early childhood education. Quality preschool is not something that is attainable for many families. High rates of tuition, low numbers of preschool programs, and a lack of certified teachers, along with insufficient transportation, are just some of the issues that need to be addressed. Only 65% of 3 to 5-year-olds are enrolled in early childhood programs in America. This number falls far below the OECD average of 80% and is one of the worst rates among developed countries. This not only has a negative impact on our children, but also their parents. More than 75% of mothers and 50% of fathers switch or quit their jobs due to a lack of childcare. These statistics are simply unacceptable. As the high cost of living and earning a comfortable wage becomes more and more difficult, this becomes a serious economic hurdle that many families are just not capable of overcoming. Being able to support a family on a single income is becoming increasingly difficult. This puts many families in a predicament that no one wants to be in. They need to go without so one parent can stay home with their young child or give most of their paycheck to simply cover the costs of the child care. This is especially burdensome on families of lower socioeconomic statuses. Their access to quality programs is severely limited, and almost half of Americans live in neighborhoods with little to no access to child care. So what is being done to combat this issue? 86% of the children who are eligible for support from some federal programs never receive it because of lack of federal funding. Providing families with access to this vital support is something that should not be cast aside, and it is certainly something our local chapters of government, as well as the federal government, need to support. If we could provide all families with access to high-quality early childhood education and care, we can increase the quality of life for Americans everywhere. Children who are enrolled in preschool have so many advantages. Increased social and emotional skills, cognitive skills, literacy, and even physical development are increased compared to their peers who are not enrolled in a preschool program. In addition to these benefits, children who are enrolled in an early childhood program are less likely to need special education services later in life. This is largely because educators can spot concerns early and take action. The earlier a child is able to receive intervention services, the more likely they are not to need these services during their higher years of education. We need to secure more federal funding for these programs. Public spending on early care and education is about $34 billion, with about $22.2 billion coming from the federal government and $11.8 billion from the state and local governments. This may seem like a substantial amount, but when you consider how much income is lost due to lack of support for parents in the workforce, we can see how insufficient it really is. Parents forego roughly $30 to $35 billion in income because of the cost of early childhood education, forces many parents to leave the workforce or reduce their paid work hours. Parents are also spending an incredible $42 billion a year on early child care and education. It is clear to see that the funding simply isn't enough to provide sufficient help to families who need it most. There are many local and federal organizations who are currently responsible for funding early childhood programs. Most federal funds are trickled down to the state and dispersed further to local private and public organizations. They then delegate the funds to various programs and schools. These funds are used for everything from teacher salaries to furniture and materials for the classrooms. There is quite a bit of grant money available to early childhood programs to ensure their classrooms are set up to provide the best experience for the children and support their development. Even though these funds are very helpful, it still doesn't address the biggest problem we are facing. Educating the community on these issues is the most effective way to bring about the change our nation sorely needs. Pressure on our local, state, and federal governments to address these issues is the only way that real change is going to happen. We are now seeing the devastating effects the COVID-19 pandemic had on the children who were not permitted to attend school during those times. The regression in social and cognitive development, increase in speech delays, and decrease in physical ability should be alarming enough to emphasize how important early childhood education is within our community. I hope we are able to make a positive movement in the way our nation views childcare. It is important, and our families are worth it. And most importantly, the children are worth it.